So the Jaguars selected CJ Henderson. I'm a bit surprised by that move, but to be honest, I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. I do like CJ Henderson a lot. It is sort of a position of need. Quite frankly, the Jaguars, they just need to go with best player available. I think they have plenty of holes, and CJ Henderson is a great player. I kind of thought they were going to go tackle here. That was just what I thought. But again, I don't hate CJ Henderson at all. I think he's a really good player, and I think this is not a bad pick whatsoever. They also could have gone receiver. You know, all receivers are still on the board. But again, they're going with who they believe to be the best player available, I think. Henderson is a really good player. Henderson is an insane cover corner. He struggles a little bit in terms of tackling, in terms of getting blocked out of the way. I'm going to get into all of that in just a second. Actually, I'll get into it all now. So I'm going to break down everything that's going on. Now the film study starts. We'll start things off with this play. What's going to happen is that this is going to be man coverage right here, and so really what I want you to take a look at will be obviously CJ Henderson. He's the topic of this video. He's who I want you to take a look at, and that's the route he's going up against. Just a quick curl route. Doesn't appear to be anything too fancy, but keep in mind, I mean, this is a 3rd down and 5, so you kind of have that in the back of your head a little bit of, okay, this could be a curl route that stops right past 5 yards, down the field. There's also a little bit of a thought of, okay, if I get burned deep here, that could be a problem as well. Maybe they're going to try to fool me into thinking this is going to be something shallow. Then they can run deep and maybe get a touchdown right here. So several different thoughts right now that Kentucky can have. And right after the ball was snapped, notice how, again, a little bit tough to see. The logo's in the way. Obviously, there's no accessible all-22 footage for college tapes, so we kind of got to deal with what we got. But at the same time, you can see here what's going on. There's some separation here. I mean, straight up, CJ Henderson was making sure he didn't get beat deep. But right now, number 11, he has a window right here where this could potentially be a completion. It just could. But I am not bringing up this play to show a negative of Henderson or a flaw in his game. Quite the opposite. Watch how he comes back, not only knocks the ball away, but nearly had an interception. I mean, that's what he can do. He has elite abilities to run back and, knock a ball away like that, or even get interceptions like that. It's one of the best things about him. And without a doubt, he's a guy that's going to get picks. I mean, he reminds me a little bit of like Richard Sherman in that sense. I'm not saying he's going to be Richard Sherman, but he reminds me of that, just in that way to break back and make a play like that. It's very fun, very, very good football right there. I also do really like his ball skills, his ability to make a play on the ball. He has, very good at getting his hands on it. This play is a good example of that, where it's a cover 1 linebacker blitz, and the route he's covering is a slant route, which this is the worst route you want to cover against this coverage, pretty much, because it's going to cut over the middle of the field, which is a good angle for the quarterback to try and make that throw. And at the same time, there's nobody in the middle of the field. Since it's going to be a cover 1 blitz, there's no one in the middle of the field who can try to make a play. So right now for Henderson, I mean, his only hope is to basically just win his own one-on-one matchup. He has to try to find a way to make a play against pretty much the worst scenario. He rolled snake eyes, so to speak, on this play pre-snap. And right after the ball is snapped, he does a pretty good job of not allowing too much separation, but there is some separation. South Carolina realizes this. They are going to try to make a throw in this direction because it does make sense to make a throw in that direction. But watch how Henderson is able to come back. He knocks the ball away, and they are not able to get that completion right there. Again, it's the kind of thing where it's like he might give up a little bit of separation pre-snap, but he is going to be able to finish. He finishes so well. That's what makes him a really valuable prospect, in my opinion. And he's also not giving up like crazy amounts of separation either. So it's not like, he's getting burned but then finding ways to come back. He's legitimately doing a good job pre-snap. The only reason that was a good play for South Carolina to try to throw it in that direction was simply because pre-snap they basically won the play. But Henderson had one of the worst things that can happen to you pre-snap, and he was still able to win his matchup, which kind of just goes to show what he can bring to the table, and I do think that he will add a lot of value, no doubt about it. This play is another good example of his good ball skills, where what's going to happen is that this is the cover 1 hole this time, so still a cover 1 play. He's on the outside trying to protect against the go route. And, go routes or deep routes in general are very good against cover 1. There's only one safety who's deep, and unless that safety is Earl Thomas, he probably can't cover sideline to sideline, meaning that towards the sideline, there is going to be a window where you can have it just be a one-on-one matchup, and as long as your receiver can beat their corner, you can have an opportunity to make a play. And also on a 3rd down and 15 when you're at your own 43-yard line, this is a good opportunity to throw a ball deep anyways, because worst case scenario, it ends up an arm punt, but best case scenario, you get the ball in field goal range. And just with the punting way that works, gaining 10 yards doesn't really do too much, so they are going to take a chance deep here. But first things first, watch how Henderson gives up no separation this entire way. I mean, he just stays right with his assigned man this entire play. But also, if you notice right here, I know it's a little blurry, not the best quality admittedly, but what he is doing is he is turning his head back and looking towards the ball. So that way, when the football does finally come to him, he's able to reach out and knock that ball away. And that's huge. I mean, that is very difficult to do for several reasons, because one thing is, it's very difficult to do, but another thing why that's so key is the fact that now that he's got his head turned around, A, it's not going to be pass interference, and B, he can make a play on the ball. I mean, how often have we seen somebody who is in good position but doesn't have their head turned around not be able to make a play? I mean, you can't make a play on the ball if you don't know where the ball is. Henderson seemingly always knows where the ball is, and that is just a huge asset in anyone's toolbox. Like, this plays another example of that, where it's going to be a cover 3 zone, and that's the route that Henderson will be going up against. That's where Henderson is on the screen, but he's in charge of covering the zone that's on the top of the screen, on the top right corner of the screen. And so, obviously that route will get into his zone, so that's where he needs to look. But after the ball is snapped, you're going to notice that this receiver, this Kentucky receiver, actually does a pretty good job right here of faking as though he's going to be going up towards the sideline, which, as we know, he isn't. So already, you would see a lot of corners get fooled by this type of thing. But also worth mentioning, this is going to be just an abysmal throw. The throw is going to be way too low. However, Henderson is still going to stay with it. He's able to follow the ball and make that interception. He made a better read on it than the receiver did, and he was able to get a pick right there. And again, that's awareness more than anything. So I guess, really, that's kind of my favorite thing about Henderson is his awareness. He's one of the more smart players in this draft, I think, especially corners. His football IQ is off the charts, and obviously in football, that just means so much. It is so much a mental game, especially in the cornerback position, for him to be able to find ways to just understand what's going on, be aware of what's going on the field. It's almost like he's listening to the radio feed while he's playing, because he just seemingly knows when things are happening. And this plays another example of that, where that's the play that they'll be going up against right here, where it's going to be a screen pass, and that's where Henderson is. So, a player is going to run out to try to block him, another receiver catches the ball, and hopefully is able to run a long way. That's the hope, at least. And so after the ball is snapped, you notice that Henderson, he's right here, and he realizes what's going on. And one thing I do have to mention is that not exactly the best executed play. Florida isn't exactly going up against Alabama in this game, admittedly, but Henderson at the same time realized what's going on very quickly. He is going to break in and make a very quick tackle, and just like that, that was 3rd down and 10. They get the 4th down, and, that was probably the play that won it for him. Only up 24-0 early on in the second quarter. You really needed that stop there. So, just a good aware play by Henderson. That's what you're going to see a lot of in the NFL, I think, with Henderson, is him being aware, is him realizing what's going on, and is him making smart plays. I really like this player, and I think this makes a lot of sense. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this whole situation, this whole pick. Always love hearing from you guys, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.